everybody. I'm going to let everybody get in here. I'm going to let the stream just settle itself in a little bit. Yeah, seems YouTube's kind of doing a flaky thing with the stream today, so we're going to let it settle in for a couple minutes. And y'all make sure you go out and get your drink and snacks. I'll make sure I don't start without you. And if I do apologize about it. I don't mean to start out with, without you. And also, too, if you're watching this live stream for the first time, make sure you subscribe. And put a like on this, as well as don't forget to turn on your notification bell so that way you know when I post the next video. I figured I'd get that out of the way really quick before we get started anyway, so. Ooh, let's see. It's been a long day. It has been hot out there today. I mean, super hot. I mean, I think it was like over 123 degrees Fahrenheit. Could be wrong, but I'll tell you what, as soon as I got in the car, I just started sweating. That's because I don't have the air conditioner fixed in it yet. And I know y'all are going to say to me, Jay, why don't you just get it fixed? Well, they want a lot of money for that. They want close to, now, it used to be to where, I could get it all done for $400, but now it looks like it's $1,600. And I don't have $1,600. If I had $1,600, I'd be building a PC right here, I know you'd say, well, that doesn't fix your car, but, yeah, well, I understand that too, so. But maybe if I build a really good one and I sell it, I'd really probably get a better air conditioning. You never know. Or I might just go all electric AC. That might even be better yet. So that way I don't have to deal with fan belts anymore. I don't have to deal with compressors anymore. Everything's just, all electric. So, I know that's not why you guys are here today. I got a couple things that I want to talk to you about, but there's one thing I want to really talk to you guys about, but we're going to wait till the end of the stream and have a powwow about it. That way it gives everybody enough time to get in here. I'm kind of buying a couple minutes, and I started early. The stream was supposed to start at 5 o'clock. I started a little bit early because the way YouTube is right now, it was acting kind of flaky with the stream, so I figured I'd start it early to make sure it's going to be running. So everybody will be able to see the videos, and they won't, they'll be able to stick on the live stream and not have a problem. So, I know I'm not the craziest and the cutest kind of guy in the world, but, maybe because I let time go by, maybe 35, 36 years go by and didn't do nothing about it. But guess what? I am going to be doing something about it. Oh, just to remind you guys also, too, about that that tummy tightener kind of machine. I'm going to let you know this. And I'm going to take my time. I'm not going to rush into this. And I'm going to tell you, it's right over there on the bed. It's that, the one that you put on your arms and, you put on your chest and stuff, and it's supposed to tone you up and everything else. And gives you electrical shocks at the same time. So, but it is, I'm just going to say it's a joke. It's a great novelty item if you want to take and have it at a birthday party or something, and you want to shock your birthday kind of person. But As far as what they put on TV about that, oh, it's supposed to tone you up and this and that. Oh, yeah, I put that thing on for 20 minutes every day since I got it, since I did the last video and told you guys about this. And tried it, and tried it, and tried it, and tried it. Did I lose any weight? No. Only way you're going to burn those calories is if you start working out. That machine is nothing but a stimulator for your muscles, and it's better used for people that are bedridden, that can't get out of bed, that kind of thing. But as far as, it to, stimulate your muscles to make them grow and everything else, that's not going to work like that. So, your best to get some thick bands. They got bands that you can strap to your door and work out with resistance training. Do some resistance training would probably be better, which I have those, by the way, so I'm going to end up doing the resistance training. And also, too, I got my 10-pound weight. I got a couple of these, so I'll just use these and work out with this. And I got my curl bar and, stuff like that. So I'm going to go in the opposite direction and get away from that machine thing, because it's a good novelty item, but if it actually really worked, then I would have been, in 30 days, I would have been cut down leaner than this. I've still got the same stomach. It hasn't gone anywhere. So, knowing that, now I'm going to work out and do a different plan. Change my eating habits and everything. Totally changing my whole game. But that's not why you guys are here. So, we're going to give it like 10 more minutes, and we're just going to talk about odds and ends kind of things. Some housekeeping kind of things. As you guys know, I've had it started for quite a while, but I just didn't get into it because I was focusing on my main channel here. Y'all know about JJPB Shorts. I decided to do reaction videos on there. So check it out, subscribe to the channel. And if you don't know how to get to that channel, then all you got to do is go to the main page of this channel. And then I got them down at the bottom or in the middle or somewhere in between there. But it's on the first page. You can scroll down and you can click on the other two channels I got if you want to check them out. Now, I know the gaming one, I haven't gotten into it yet. I put a couple games on there that I did play. Hello, Machine. Good to see you. Good to see you. I kind of started a little bit early because YouTube and the streaming, I want to make sure it's stable and everything else, so I had to start a little bit early. And plus, I was sitting there just rattling my can off my trap. Just figured I'd get in all to that. Figured I'd explain about the channel, JJPB Shorts. And make sure y'all check it out. I'm going to try to do probably 2 videos a week on that channel. And I'm going to keep this one consistent and try to do as many videos as I can on this channel per week. So I'm going to be doing both channels, so y'all have to check out the videos. When it comes to reaction videos, I'm a work in progress. I'm not perfect. I never said I was ever perfect, just to let you guys know. Doing these videos after a couple years, I'm still not perfect. I'm still rusty around the edges. So just gonna have to bear with me until I can get myself fine-tuned when it comes to the videos. So, kind of give me that little bit of moment. I would appreciate it. Y'all helping me out anyway is much appreciated as well. Okay, since we got one or two in here, yeah, I know my channel, I don't have a lot that get on the stream, but I'm working towards it. Okay, might get 8, 10, or 11 on the stream, but you know what? They enjoy every week, so I'm not going to stop doing them. I'm doing it every Saturday at 5 p.m. And if you want to join in, there's an open chat, just no profanity, and I'm good with you. So, yes, I don't lock the chat, and I don't make you pay for it. I don't make nobody pay for anything. I'm doing this all up on my skimpy, so. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and click that off and go to the action screen and get this party started. All right, I already got things rolling up in the house for you. First off, what we're going to talk about is right here. I went on WCCF Tech today and pulled this up right here. Intel to face massive lawsuit from shareholders as they felt blindsided by the firm's financial results. On top of that, I think it was MSI and Asus launched on a couple of motherboards an update for the BIOS. I'm going to tell you this. I've been listening. Hello, pseudoscientist. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. I've been listening for about the body fat. Well, I know you were. But I was actually kind of warming the channel up a little bit, to get it all going. So, but this is what we're going to be talking about. Intel. This is the first off. I was going to save Intel to the end, but I feel that, you guys really, need to think about before you deciding to buy an Intel CPU. I mean, seriously thinking about it, because I went through a couple reviewers' videos today. I haven't purchased any of the 13th or 14th gen, thank God. So I'm not into that mess. But when they get it straightened out and they get everything back to where it needs to be, then I'll think about purchasing one. But in the meantime, I'm best off not to purchase any 13th or 14th gen from Intel, since they're going to be ending that product anyway. Even though that they put out the new KE version, they're just adding on more to the soup. That's the way I feel. So, white flour, white sugar, corn syrup causes fat. Drop those prime drinks ASAP. Oh, I don't do them anymore. I'm on water, man. Pseudoscientist, I am on water. So, no more of that. No more of that. Just to let you know that. So, yeah. Back to the Intel thing. They put out an update for the CPU processors for the motherboard BIOSes. A couple reviewers were saying that they tested it out and it didn't seem to drop anything too drastically, like maybe 1 or 2% on the performance. But they felt that when it comes to that update, that it didn't resolve anything. But what it did do is it pulled down the CPU down to idle. So what's happening is instead of it reaching its peak, it's doing the reverse thing and pulling it down to idle. So a lot of people were asking me about, updating their BIOS for their motherboard. Truthfully, I would go into your power settings for Windows and turn your max power settings down to 80%. Because that's about the same damn thing you're going to be doing with that BIOS. Problem is that it's spiking up to 1.44 volts on the processor, the CPU. And I'm going to give you a helpful hint. If you don't run your processor at the max of 1.2 volts or less, you're going to kill your CPU. My CPU doesn't even hit up to 1.2 volts. Mine hits 1.157 because I have it on a negative downslope in the power settings. So I don't run anywhere near the 1.3750 volts that is required. So, but I keep it down to 1.2 to 1.1 volts. Get the same performance, so I don't see why that you would have a processor that runs that hot. So, running that hot, guys, I mean, you take your chances with Intel. But you can go in to the CPU voltages and you can turn down the CPU voltage from the stock setting and lower the stock setting down to 1.2 and have it capped at 1.2. So this way, you don't have to worry about that degradation, the processor degrading itself. Because a lot of people are saying with an Intel processor, even running at 1.27 volts and downwards, it'll run just fine and give you the same performance. So keep that in mind because you can lower the voltages. I mean, whatever motherboard manufacturer recommends, but right now, to me, if you're running a 13th or 14th gen, I would go into the BIOS. I would take and lower the voltage incrementally, slowly, by 0.10 until you got an even balance. And then once you got it down to the right voltage that's balancing with your system, then I would put the PBO curve on to like a negative 25. But leave the clocks, the CPU clock set on auto, so this way it'll go and swing up to its peak. even lowering the voltages, you can still swing it to its max, like a windshield wiper. Keep that in mind, because with your CPU, and this is what I do with mine. Let me bring up a program that you guys will. There we go. All right. A little bit of flash to the past. Let's see. Now I'm going to bring this up and let you guys know. Let's go back to the action screen. Okay, this right here is done by Asus. This is an Asus program. This is AI Suite 3. Right here, I can see how now see where it says right here. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it says CPU core voltage. Look at my CPU core voltage. Oh, I know you guys are going to say, well, Jay, you should have made a bigger cursor. Well, you know what? We're going to get a bigger cursor for you. If you like it or not, you're going to get a bigger cursor. Okay, minimize that. Bam, there's a bigger cursor for you. See my voltages? That's the way your voltages are supposed to run normally. Just like this. See where it says CPU fan? I don't have a CPU fan. Guys, CPU fan. I have a remote control for it. That's why it says 0. And the CPU is at 38 to 40C, and I'm recording to you. Ain't that something? Look at that. CPU package 46C. I'm only running at about maybe 3.7, 3.6 gigahertz. I'm running it right at idle and doing OBS and doing a live stream to YouTube. Don't you think it would be like a little bit higher than this? This is how smooth it runs. That's one good thing I love about this, how smooth it runs. Also, too, you can go to your optimized, you can do your CPU optimizations, and, if you really want to get into it, you can go in here and set the voltages. Right now, my voltage for this processor is set at 1.0750 volts. The SoC is set at 1.15 volts. I don't know if you can see it, but that's what it says right there. Okay. This right here, this program right here, I can turn around and I can move up the B clock if I want to make it hotter. I can turn up the ratio of the processor, so basically not sitting at 3.4 gigahertz. I can move this all the way up to the max of the processor and run all core at the max. But I found out that leaving it right here at the base clock and letting it swing all the way out to its max, I get better performance than to have it all the way up set to the max. I'm just bringing this up really clear to y'all so you all understand. Right here, your Intel, if you have an Intel processor, it shouldn't even be choking any hotter than 1.2 volts. Now, this is an AMD processor, but I think for what I have set up here on an AM4 motherboard, a B550 Strix motherboard, I don't think it's too bad. Everybody says, oh yeah, you got to have all this FPS and this and that. No. If you got anything that's over 60 FPS with no game stuttering whatsoever, with no artifacting, those are the three key things you need to worry about when it comes to gaming. You could have 1,000,000 FPS, 1,000,000, and still have stuttering. So, comes down to it all. You could have 60 FPS, you can have 200 FPS. Some people, they cap their games off at 120 FPS, but they still stay at the max cap. So, AM4 system is not bad. AM5's not bad. It's just how you put it together. That's how it matters. And if you can't put it together evenly and get it balanced, then yeah, you're going to run into issues. You're going to be running into gaming problems, blue screening, and everything else. Just like the new 9000 series processors. Let me get this out of the way. Okay, now we understand the terminologies of where Intel should be setting their CPUs at. They should take a page out of AMD's notebook and do the same thing with their processor. No, they wanted to get technical and everything else about their processor, so this is the result of that. Now they got nothing but a mess. A zoo. Z-O-O. A zoo on their hands. So, now that they got that zoo on their hands, this is what they're going to be dealing with. They're going to have a very rocky Christmas, it seems like. I mean, because people are not happy. And this is about the microcode. Intel's 0x129 microcode mitigates 14th gen and 13th gen CPU instability issues. Benchmarks reveal no performance downgrades, which that is true. But what they're, MTBK, good to see you. What they're not telling you is if your CPU's already damaged, this microcode's not going to help. And from what a couple other reviewers are saying, it doesn't look like this is really going to mitigate the solution to the problem. This is another Band-Aid. And I want you guys to understand this very carefully. And I'm going to say this. It's a Band-Aid. It's not going to make it any better, especially when they screwed up the silicon and they caused all that oxidization, and then they're trying to tell everybody, oh, it's going to fix the problem with the microcode. That's one of the problems with Intel CPUs. That's not all the problems with it. They got multiple problems with it. And this is the reason why they're getting sued. And on top of that, now they're getting sued because the stockholders feel like they've been screwed. So, right now, my recommendation is to take and wait before you buy an Intel CPU until they get all this problem fixed. I'm not going to bash them. This is not a bashing. This is just fine line to tell all my subscribers and everybody that watches my videos wait until they fix the problem completely to where there's no issues, and you got reviewers doing positive benchmarks, and then you hear that the problem's been fixed before you decide to buy again. That's all I'm going to tell you. If not, then you're going to be stuck with a bum horse of a CPU. You don't want that to happen. So it's either you wait or you go AMD. And I'm not really some about the AMD kind of thing, right now. That's what we're going to be talking about next, is AMD CPUs. You're going to love this. MTBK says, I can't wait for new architecture because I don't need hyper-threading SMT that badly. Yeah, well, I mean, hyper-threading SMT is already built into my system. You see me crying about my CPU? Hell no. I love my CPU. My CPU is running like a dream. It's an AMD CPU. Hey, when do you ever hear me say, I love my CPU? Well, yeah, I tell you guys all the time. It's just the GPU that I'm kind of not stroked on when it comes to AMD. Now, when it comes to Nvidia, yeah, the GPU I'm kind of good with right here. Again, I was gonna trick you guys today and tell you, hey, something happened to my 4070 and it blew up. I wanted to see the reaction you guys would have given me if I would have told you that, but I didn't want to scare you like that. So basically, no, it's not blown up. It still runs. So, but a lot of people are starting to understand why Nvidia is so expensive. But we'll talk about that a little later. Now we're going to talk about AMD and the 9700X and the 9600X. Okay. On WCCF Tech, make sure y'all check them out. 9700, 9600 CPUs. The next generation of Zen. That says chapter, I said generation. Well, the CPUs are $359 for the 9700X, and it's $279 for the 9600X. You really think that, looking at these prices, that, people are going to be jumping out there? But no, you know what I heard people are doing? They're asking for refunds. That's what I heard they're going to be asking for. Refunds. So the 16% IPC improvement, that's only on one program. That's not all the games. This is where everybody got it wrong. When reviewers were doing the games, they were looking at several amounts of games, not just one that, because AMD put out a chart for one program that was supposed to, give a whole 16% uplift. But I'm going to open up something really quick. And I'm going to show you the 16% uplift. You guys are going to love this. I'm just disappointed, really. I mean, truthfully, it's a very big disappointment with me about, these GPUs. So, or did I say GPU? I meant CPUs. My bad. Okay, now Starfield. Here. Now I'm going to open up benchmarks, And this is by Gamers Nexus, and we're going to look at it very carefully. 6,000 mega transfers, RAM for your PC. The 9700X got on 0.01% lows 37.1 FPS. On the 1% lows, you got 55.6 FPS. And on the average high, you got 123 FPS. But looking right above that is the 7700X, which was better improvements than the 9700X. And that's at stock. I don't know if, I mean, guys, this is really bad. I mean, even the 5800X3D took a swipe at the 9700X. But going above that, and this is on a 6400 MT RAM, that it got a better performance on 6400 mega transfers. I'm going to say megahertz, screw it. So 6400 megahertz. And it only got an 8% jump by moving the RAM upwards. But still, this was supposed to take out the 14600K, which is right here, and that's 3% more. 3% more than this processor. So that 16% uplift, where is it? It's definitely not here. So I just wanted to bring this up. PC Games Hardware sees a 9700X about 11% ahead compared to its predecessor, and is in contact with AMD because it underperformed. Hey, MTBK, we know it underperforms. This right here, even this chart alone shows the underperforming. I mean, let's go to another chart, Baldur's Gate 3. Look at the 7700X compared to the 9700X. Look at this. 2% difference between the two. 2% difference. Both running the same graphics card. The same amount of RAM. Everything. 2% difference. Same motherboard too. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, give me some insight about this. I mean, you know, if your Asus Dual RTX 4070 blew up, I'm reading back, by the way, I'd recommend doing an RMA, no drama whatsoever. Well, yeah, I mean, I still got another year and a half with my warranty with Amazon, and then another 2 years with Asus. So either way I look at it, you know, I'm not going to lose. So, but I mean, come on, guys. This is their 13 game average, okay? This is Hardware Unboxer's 13 game average. 7700X. The 1% lows were 109. And the highs, average highs, are 151. 9700X. It's right above that. Or 7900X. It's right above that. 108 on the lows, which the 7700X got better on the lows than the 7900X. And then on the highs is only a 1% difference between the 7700 X and a 7900X. And then looking at the 9700X, I mean, it's only like 2% difference on the lows and 3% difference on the highs. And this is supposed to be a new architecture that's 16% IPC. Look, when you buy, and understand this, when I know that you guys are going to call me a noob, I know we're going to get to this. The thing is this: when I go from generation to generation, every generation should at least have the minimal of 10% overall, at least the minimal of 10% overall uplift compared to the last generation to the new generation. At least 10% overall. And this is not even hitting 10%. This is only hitting in between 2 and 3%. So it's, I mean, the 9700X is not worth, it's not worth it. Not for $370, $60, $360. You really think that's worth it? Hell no. I'd rather go get myself a 7800X3D that, guess what? That gets 181 right here. 7800X3D. 128 on the lows, and it gets 181 on the highs. You see my point? So, just to say. Do you think, machine says this, do you think CPUs will work better with the new motherboards? And also, what was the performance difference in productivity? Well, the productivity, that's where it gains, okay? In productivity, that's where it gains over the 7800X3D. But in gaming, the 7800X3D is the king, just to say. Until they come out with the 9950X3D or 9800X3D. Then that will be a different story. But right now, 9700X is not doing it. Now, as far as motherboards, and Machine, you did bring up a good point about the motherboard. It could be that, and everybody has to understand, they're using an old architecture motherboard. I know everybody's going to say 600 series is now an old architecture motherboard. Well, when it comes to anything above 7000 series, yeah, it is. It's an older architecture, just like AM4 is an older architecture to AM5. But some of the performances keep up there with these newer processors. Some of the performances, like your 5800X3D, and even the 5700X3D and the 5600X3D keeps up. But as far as when it comes to the motherboard, they have better improvements on the 800 series motherboards than they do the 600. So with these new processors, if you get a new motherboard, the 800 series motherboard with all the new architecture, yeah, these processors could do better, if you're wondering. They could do better, but they could do the same thing as with the 600 series motherboards. They could do the same thing. But I've been hearing the Expo that's, for the RAM, it's supposed to have better performance on the Expo for the new 800 series motherboards. So they did an uplift on a couple things on the 800 series compared to your 600. So yeah, it could turn out that these processors could be better in a sense. They could be better. But for right now, you're getting the bottom of the barrel when it comes to using an older motherboard that's well designed for 7000 series, not 9000 series. So maybe they were designed for productivity and X3Ds are for gaming. I don't know CPUs at all. Machine, listen. They're your X versions, okay, or basically kind of for productivity. But they're for gaming as well. They're mixed bag. They're stronger on productivity, but they're kind of not so strong on games. But when your X3Ds are, they're more strong on games because the amount of cache that they have on those processors. See, now you got 104 megs of cache on the 7800 X3D. I could be wrong. You guys can quote me later or tell me now, whatever. And then you got 36 megs of cache on an X series CPUs. Now, if they would have did 64 megs and cut it right in half and did 64 megs on an X series CPU, then yeah, it might be a little bit stronger in gaming. See, that's the thing. They didn't give it enough cache to support the games, I think. So, MTBK says at least 10% overall might take more time. Engineers think differently. Yeah, we know that. DeBauer says 9700X is held back by its power limit, which is true. You can adjust the power limits in the BIOS, so it's not really held back. It's just set baseline. Okay, that's what they don't tell you. They're running everything at baseline. That's how reviewers do things. They set everything at baseline, and basically it's the out-of-box experience is what they're trying to do the review on. They're not pushing it to the limit. Like they're not. They don't push these CPUs to the limit. I, on the other hand, will push mine to the limit. So I'm not like them. But I can wait until I understood all the reviews completely. Yeah, MTBK, like I said, you're going to get many people out there giving different reviews, different ideas, and so on. So you're just going to have to, watch all the reviews and make your own best judgment, as I would say. But for right now, the way I think about it, and let me see, let me go to, where was it? Let's see. Where was it? I think I got it. I have to keep looking. See, because right here, they got the 7600X, and it's not that far away from the 9700X. And you got the 7900X3D, the 7800X3D, you got 7950X3D. You even got the 12900K right here that's running better. A 12900K that's running better than the 9700X. I mean, I know the 5800X is way down here in the bush. I know you guys can't see it that well, but the point is this. Okay. We know for a fact that with these new processors And even AMD has said themselves that the sweet spot on these processors is 6,000 megahertz. Okay, that seems to be the problem. Because on other 7000 series processors, they've already had those processors up to 8,000 megahertz. 8,000 megahertz on 7000 series. But you can't push these processors, these new ones, up to 8,000 megahertz. Not unless you have the right design motherboard to do that. But they go unfunctional. If I remember my friend telling me that they pushed it to 6,800 megahertz, and after that it was totally unstable. So anything that's above 6,800 megahertz, it's totally unstable. So it makes no sense to run them at all. You best to stay with the 7000 series right now. It's my point of view to you. So the scientist says, machine, I've heard that before. Test if that is true, the 9900X and 9950X will roar. Well, yeah, they should. The 9900 and the 9950X, they should be a lot better than the 97 and 96. It's always lower bin. The lower bin CPUs are always the ones that run the crappiest. Now, when it comes to the higher end CPUs, those are always got all the focus and all the beans. Just simple as that. They got all the beans. So if they are not designed for gaming, why is everyone getting upset? Everybody's getting upset because it's a new platform. It's a new generation machine. It's a new generation. New generation. Anytime a new generation comes out, it should always be smoking. Always smoking the last generation. It should be just hitting it hard. You should be at least getting 15 to 20% uplift from the last generation. But it's not. And this has been going on for at least 4 generations. Everybody's tired of it. Everybody's getting pissed over it. They want something better. They want new architecture. And that's why they were hoping those new ARM processors that they put in those Copilot PCs were going to be the next best thing. And turned around, they were next best crap. It was nothing but crap. Those processors were crap. Qualcomm stuck their nose in there and thought they knew what they were doing, but obviously they don't know how to build a PC. So we know that. So pseudoscientist says maybe because they didn't say that when selling and promoting the product. They didn't say. Now this is the thing. For the last couple generations, they haven't been saying much at all. And reviewers are like throwing their hands up, and they're like, okay, reviewers get the product, and then the next day they put it on the market. It doesn't give anybody any time to review the product to make sure the product is basically like beta testing. That's what your reviewers are, like beta testers. But we do it on we put them on the videos. So you see the kind of testing that they put the hardware through, so you know that if it's going to be good or bad. But it seems that now these days the manufacturers decide to do, they're just going to do 1 day of testing and then the next day throw the product out there. And this is where they're losing money. And this is the reason why, AMD had to take and put a hold on their CPUs was because of this launch. Everybody says this launch is crap. Okay, and I agree with them. There's no IPC uplift to these processors. None. If they had some kind of IPC uplift, then your games would be running at double the amount of speed. Or you can run a 4090 with these new processors and there's no issues. No, let me see. Blue screening, crashing. You got to restart the computers for a couple times just to get it to work. System RAM instability issues. Think about it. If you're the consumer, you go and buy that new processor, you put it in your PC, and you put your thermal paste on and you do it all correct, and you go to turn it on, and guess what happens? Starts up, goes right into Windows, and then blue screens. I don't think that's right. I don't know if you all do, but I don't. That kind of make the customer salty, I think. So, let's see. DDR 5600 is the spec. Well, MTBK, I know that's the spec, but that's not the point. Your 7000 series, some of those processors in your 7000 series can hit 8,000 megahertz with ease, because they've already had bench testing on this. I've already seen many tests on this. These new processors should be hitting that mark on an overclock easily. And they're even using the same motherboard that they got the 8,000 megahertz overclock on for these new processors. And guess what? Blue screen. So, like I said, Machine says, what would be considered a good uplift from 7,000 to the 9,000 series? What would be a good uplift for CPUs? I always go to the basis of minimal of 10% uplift overall. Now, IPC only gives you a certain amount of parameter uplift. I want to see the whole CPU itself. The whole CPU as a whole. All the cores and everything working correctly. A total uplift of 10% or more. And so far, for the last couple generations, always been this nickeling and diming 2 to 3 to maybe, if you're lucky, 5%. But haven't seen anything over 10% yet. And I've been doing this a long time. So, I just feel like they're nickeling and diming you to buy another crappy processor to put into your system and have you play your games and get equal performance. That's basically what it looks like going from 7,000 to 9,000 series. You're getting on average equal performance. Come on. Now, when they went from AM4 to AM5 and the 5800X3D compared to the 7800X3D, again, still, you go back and look at all those testing results between the two when they first started on AM5. Look at the two. You'll see close to equal performance. Again, there's 1 to 2. They're nickeling and diming. That's what pisses me off. They're nickeling and diming this. MTBK says, I just play the game I like with my Alder Lake as long as it doesn't evaporate. Yeah, I agree with you. It is not a 12900K, but more like an i5 13400F. Well, with integrated graphics, yeah, well, that's because you're on a laptop. Desktops are a little bit different, my friend. Desktops are a little bit different. You got everything separated. Now, compared to a laptop where you got everything combined into one little area, not with the desktop, it's everything spread it out. So, yeah. Total different ball game when it comes to this. PC game hardware tested 4 cores at 4 gigahertz, and Zen 5 is double as fast as Intel 10th gen Comet Lake. Yeah, well, that's Comet Lake, but you didn't test it with the same, like AMD against AMD. That's one thing you really don't see that much, is they put their different processors against different processors to actually see what this company is doing, to see how good it is, to see which one is the best of the best of the best out of all AMD's processors. You put them head to head. Not with Intel. Intel, you can put head to head to see which one's the best of the best. And then after you find the best of the best of Intel and the best of the best of AMD, then you put them head to head. Then you see which one's the best of the best for the companies. But, when it comes to, finding in the lot of CPUs that AMD has, which one is the better one? That's what everybody's trying to find out. Which is the best one to use with AMD? Now, with AMD, with these new CPUs that came out, everybody's still saying the 7800 X3D is king when it comes to gaming. Now, as far as productivity work, content creator work, and stuff like that, it's okay, but it's not that great. Just to let you know that. So, well, if I limit my budget, my wallet can't hit DDR5 8000 easily, even if the Silicon can. I know. And trust me, I know about that. I mean, I know not a lot of people can hit the 8000 series. The 8000 megahertz. I already know that. But it's the point. It's being able to take, let's say you got 5600 megahertz, being able to clock it up 200 megahertz more to give it a 200 megahertz uplift. Right? So, giving it that extra 200 megahertz uplift with the same RAM you have now. Let's say if it's at 5600, you get 200 megahertz uplift, it's at 5800. So now you're kind of stretching the legs of your system RAM. If you want to get a little bit better performance, then, out of your RAM, then you can always stretch its legs and move it up a couple hundred megahertz. So, yeah, I mean, you don't have to buy new RAM. You have, and this is what people don't understand, you already have a minor upgrade already there in your system. You already have that minor upgrade. So you don't have to go out there, and I've already proved this with my 3200 megahertz RAM that I got for this system here. I already showed you guys it ran at 3600 megahertz. I stretched it 400 megahertz higher. Instead of having DDR4 RAM at 3600 megahertz with the CL19 or CL18. I had 3200 megahertz RAM running at 3600 megahertz with CL16 RAM. So basically, I stretched its legs 400 megahertz, but still the clock settings were still at CL16. So me doing it that way, I didn't have to spend an extra $80 on RAM for 3600 megahertz. I took my 3200 and stretched it 400 megahertz. It worked, believe it or not. It worked. Did it cause any problems? No. But I can tell you what my outcome was when I did that. Showed me at 3600 megahertz that my system picked up about almost 12%. 12% higher. 12% higher than what I'm running now. So made that CPU work a little bit better. So there's things you can do to your system to tweak it. You just have to know how to tweak it. Me, I tweaked my CPU on an undervolt. Low amount of voltage to the CPU. Did it on a negative downslope. Let's say, I set the voltage at 1.1 or 1.2 volts, but I have a negative offset of 3/4 of a volt going down in the negative. So that means when it gets ready to hit that 1.2, it goes into a downslope. So that means it's not going above 1.2 up to like 1.3750. It's going downwards. But I'm still not losing FPS. I knew how to kind of tweak it like this to get my CPU to stay at, below 65 degrees Celsius. My CPU stays below 65 degrees Celsius on a 240 millimeter AIO. I'm supposed to have a 360 millimeter AIO. But I did the opposite. Now I got a 240 millimeter AIO. And it keeps up just perfectly. 62C all day. And you've seen it. The most I've ever hit was 91 watts. 91 watts on that one game. You guys seen it. I've had it on plenty of the videos too. So, I think when it comes to the 9600X and the 9700X, is that it's imbalanced on the motherboard with the system RAM, because the system RAM should be able to clock out at least on these new processors up to the minimal 7,000 megahertz. At least the minimal of 7,000 megahertz. But they can't. Once you get over close to 7,000 megahertz, like 6,800, they crap out. So that sounds like a microcoding issue from AMD as well. Not an oxidation problem. It sounds like a microcoding problem with AMD. That they don't have their microcode set straight for the system RAM to be utilized through the CPU. Just keep in mind, when they're making the transistors smaller and smaller and smaller, they're going to run into all these problems. Okay? Going to a 3 nanometer node, yeah, It's going to get choppier as they go down. And they're trying to get down to a 1 nanometer node. And, we don't know how it's going to handle. I can tell you it's going to be really dicey. The 3 nanometer nodes are going to be really dicey. So the smaller they try to make these transistors, the more problems they're going to run into. Because now you're trying to use wire that's inside there that's microfiber pubic hair. I mean, how are you going to carry voltage through that? I don't even know how they're going to do that. That's going to be like downfall of downfalls. So, guys, I understand what you're saying about this, that these processors are supposed to be the new best thing and everything else, but overall, you're only getting 2 to 3% uplift with these processors going from 7,000 to 9,000. And they even jumped over the 8,000 series because they made the 8,000 series APU supposedly for APUs. I don't get it. I really don't. I really don't get it. They made what? 3 or 4 APUs? But everybody says, oh yeah, the 8700G, I'd never run that ever again. But you want to hear the funny thing? I'm gonna break this out to you guys. The 8700G, they had what they say they did 10,800 megahertz on an 8700G. They overclocked the system RAM to 10,800 megahertz. They had something about it on the, where was it? I'll have to find you guys the article because I think I'm trying to remember where the article was, but they overclocked it really, really hardcore. So human skin 5 volts to 50 volts. So the microelectronics is already very gentle with the silicon. Yeah, I know. It's going to be even more when they decide to do fiber optic. They're already working on a process to where they're going to make the CPUs run through a series of fiber optics. That's what they were thinking, because if they can't get any smaller than 1 nanometer, then they're going to have to go to fiber optics. And they're thinking about making most of the wiring, well, basically all the wiring in there, except for where you have little shunts at, picking up the powers and stuff and transferring, making it into a light source. They were going to go fiber optic. They're working on it right now. So that'll be something interesting to see, that a CPU with less heat than it normally would, it'd get less hot because now it's transferring power through little shunts, little light emitting shunts, instead of direct wired as it is, going from point A to point B. So it seems like it's going to get even more dicier. I've been watching, and I can tell you right now, a lot of people are trying to talk AMD and Intel into changing the platform, the x86 platform, and go to something new. I would imagine if they would have, instead of running the 64-bit bus they have for these CPUs, if they go up to a 128-bit bus, they would get more performance than trying to make the components smaller and smaller and smaller. Because now there's just a lot of fighting going on inside of a CPU. Basically you can see what's happening with 13th and 14th gen Intel. Seems like, information's fighting with each other, trying to go from point A to point B. Because remember, it's just flipping ones and zeros inside, ones and zeros. Turns one transistor on, turns one off, turns another one on. It's like gate, source, and drain. It's allowing the power to go through, like information flow and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's really crazy. So, I don't know what you guys think, but I'm going to tell you. And I'm going to say like this. These CPUs, best just wait to see what the, in 5 days, supposedly in 5 days, they're going to launch the 9900X and they're going to launch the 9950X. Just best to wait until they launch those CPUs before, you make your final decision on, is this going to be the platform to be on compared to the 7000 series. And from what I heard from 12 to 15 reviewers, they're all saying right now 9600, 9700X is not it. You could do better on the 7000 series platform. So that's what they told everybody. Not just me. And I had a couple friends too, did some heavy testing. They said they were going to do it anyway. So and they even told me it's like 9600, 9700X. They even told me that they even knew I had the 5600X 3D. They said, you're best to stay with the 5600X 3D. That's what they told me. So that's like 2 gen away from, the newest best thing. It's supposed to be the next biggest thing. And turn around that 9000 series is so far, the first 2 CPUs they put out, they flopped. So I know you guys are going to be like, well, Jay, will you just make up your mind? I made up my mind. I'm going to tell you guys, those first 2 CPUs are not it. I would rather go with Machine's 7700X compared to these new CPUs. Or even go one better, go to the 7600X than these new CPUs. That's just me. I mean, y'all got your own mind to make up, and you can make your own choice. If you think you would have a better deal with these new ones, then that's up to you. But I'm not here to sell you on those new CPUs. I'm just telling you my experience and what I've been looking into since they first started to leak them up to now. And I can tell you what they leaked is not what matches to the test results we have right now. The leaks do not match the test results we have right now on those processors. It doesn't. It does not match. They said, oh yeah, we're supposed to have this and this and this high uplift and this and that. No. You know what I did? I did something. I went and made, what was it? My analysis uplift compared to what they did, and where did I put it? AMD 9000 series benchmarks right here. Okay, let's go back to the action screen. I'm going to show you guys why. Okay, this is what they put out. Horizon Zero Dawn is supposed to have a plus 23%. 9950X This is the 9950X. 9900X should be similar. Dota 2 is supposed to have a plus 17%. Okay. The numbers are right here, guys. I mean, Office program like Handbrake supposed to have plus 55%. Blender is supposed to have plus 56%. And this is supposed to be overall? Is that what they're trying to say? I mean, and they're trying to say that the 9950X is going to be faster than the 14900K. But they don't tell you it's going to be about, what is it, $500, $550 for this? Or $400, something like that? It just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. I don't know. You guys tell me. I mean, that's what I got. I mean, when they showed that, that's AMD's benchmark. That's not mine. So just to let you know that right there. That's AMD's. That's not mine. Okay. Machine says, what GPU are they using to generate that number? Good question. Let me go back. Well, it doesn't say. That's the good question. It does not say. So, I'll tell you what I'm going to do to get that answer for you. I am gonna AMD 9700X benchmark. I'm going to get that answer for you. I am going to get that answer for you. Huh. Wow. Let's go backwards. Let's see. Accept cookies. Products. Processors. Ryzen 9000 series. Okay, well, I'll just take you guys along with me. Okay, so they did an Intel Core and the 9950X. Let's see. Did they give... Okay, so it's 170 watts. I guess I don't have that information when it comes to the specs. I'm looking. No, don't be sorry, man. I'm looking for you, believe it or not. But this is what they're claiming. This is what they're claiming, though. Let's see. Um, let's see. Okay, so we'll go backwards. See if we can. Let's see. Maybe we can find it over here. We'll look very carefully. Hey, I'm taking you guys with me, so just hold your tutus. We'll take you along with me. Not, oh, you found it? Okay. Oh, so they used the 7900 XTX. Did they keep that all AMD? No. $7,900 XTX. You're right. X670E. 6000 DDR5. Wow. I knew they were going to keep it around the 6,000 mark when it comes to the system RAM. You know. I didn't think they were going to run it with 4090. See, that's the thing. I didn't think they were going to run it with the 4090. You know, truthfully, I didn't think they were. So, but I do thank you, Machine, for that information. It is much appreciated. Now I don't have to take and spin my gears to go find it. So now we know what the answer is. So, knowing the answer to the equation, they didn't use a 4090, but believe it or not, Hardware Unboxed, Gamers Nexus, and most of your reviewers are using the 4090. Okay, don't be sorry, man. Don't be sorry. It's all good. Oh, no. Machine, how many times have I said it? I said, if there's something interesting and important that you guys have, I'm going to stop for you guys and see what you got going on and talk about it. It's not stopping the show. The show will go on, my friend. The show will go on. You know, it's not a big deal. That's the reason why we do the live stream, because if people want to come Saturdays at 5 p.m. and stay through the whole live stream, put their 2 cents in there and whatever they want to say, then that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I never did, and I never will. I know people leave their comments on the videos, but doing the live stream once a week, giving everybody that sense that they can get into it and leave a comment and, you know, right here live, and I can answer them for them, you know, it's not a problem. So Never look at it as a problem. It's not a problem, it's a solution. It is a solution to the universe. You know, I always give everybody the opportunity to say what's on their mind. I never take that away from anybody. I never do. So if you got something you want to tell me right here. That's the reason why I read every one of you guys's, when you text in here, that's the reason why I read it off. Is so you know that I'm reading it. So you guys know I'm paying attention to the chat as well as saying what's on my mind. So I just like to look at the whole picture with the specs. I understand that. I really do. I mean, I looked at so many specs when it comes to these processors. I look at it day in and day out. I know I should make it to where, you guys can see it a lot better, but I'm working on that solution. But when it comes to telling you about it and if it's a good or bad deal, I'm going to tell you about it. Look, hey, if these companies don't want to send me anything to test, then I'm going to keep giving my opinion. If they want to turn that opinion into the fact, then they're going to do like they do with the other reviewers, and they're going to send me the product, and, I'm going to test it out and post what it's all about. But if not, then, I'm just going to keep giving my opinion. And if it's right, it's right. It's wrong, it's wrong. It's my opinion. Simple as that. Like everybody else has their own opinion that they put in the chat when they leave a message on a video, or they on the live stream, they leave their thought right there. I leave my thought on this on YouTube every day. You guys know this. Oh, thanks. And you're welcome, machine. Don't worry about it. If you find something that I can't find, hey, that's what we're here for. We're all here to work together as a team, to find the information that we need. We all work together as a team. And that's the way I always looked at it, as teamwork. I always get all my subscribers and viewers involved. I always give you guys the chance to be involved in this. So we all go on the same journey together. And it's all good. We all go on this same journey together. That's all part of this channel, is to go on that journey. To find out where it's going to lead up to. And trust me, we have a long journey ahead of us. This is just the beginning of the iceberg of it. We have many of years in this journey. So this is not the end. This is just the beginning. And when I get things a lot better and everything's going a lot more better, then the videos are going to come out a lot more interesting than they are now. Which I hope you guys are interested in the videos. Please watch them. So, but like I said, if people are interested, they will stick along with you from the beginning to the end. I'm trying to do the content the best I can with the parts I have to work with. These companies don't look at these small channels as being an investment to them. When you're just starting out on YouTube, they don't look at the small channels being an investment to them. If they would have looked at this one as an investment, then they would have invested already. But they don't. They won't look at this channel unless I got 10,000 or more subscribers before they even think about this channel being an investment. So it is what it is. We are over 500 subscribers. It's not like I can't start the monetization part, but I think I'm going to wait a little bit on that before I decide to enable the monetization to this channel. Let me explain why. This is what I wanted to talk with you guys about today. I know I went over 500 subscribers, and I know I can partially monetize the channel. But I'm going to wait until after November. So I can get more subscribers in and hopefully reach 1,000 subscribers, because we are getting really close to the 4,000 watch hour mark, just to say. So I was hoping to get 500 more subscribers, and that way go full monetization. Doesn't mean it's the end. It just means it's the beginning. It just means that we're moving forward. But I was going to wait until after November to see what it's going to look like to be before I decide to go partial monetization. I mean, I want you guys to have faith and trust in me and this channel and everything else. You know, I don't want you guys to give up. I want you guys to be involved with me, to go on this journey. I want you guys to, see what I'm seeing. So, how many popular tech channels are in the dark? I don't know. I really don't. I can tell you, out of all the channels that are tech channels, when it's PC tech channels, there's only like 14 or 15 channels that are up there that have millions of subscribers. There are some channels that taken 10 years. 10 years to get at least 7 million subscribers. 10 years. So I know Rome is not built all in the same day, but it would be nice to at least get part of the way there. It seems everybody wants more entertainment than they do educational. So maybe because I'm not funny. Maybe you guys think I'm not funny. I don't know. Who knows? I'm going to tell you, pseudoscientists, I have no idea about the other channels. I'm worried about this one right here. This is the channel I'm worried about. I'm worried about everybody that's on this channel. All my subscribers, all the people that watch the videos. I would love for them to subscribe to the channel. Many people are watching the videos. Subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. I mean, I don't get it. There are probably shills, Yeah, well, it happens, man. Look, I take the good with the bad, I guess. But I'm going to keep working at it, and I'm going to keep going forward, and I'm just going to keep making videos, and I'm going to keep working at them and try to make them better each time. Figure some new way to make them better. So I know the programs that I have right now that I use to make the videos are not the best, but there's something. So Until I can come up with better ideas and better ways and everything else, I'm just going to have to keep moving forward. I mean, it's not an easy world, man. It is not an easy world. People now these days are just not wanting to live the American dream. Look, as hard as I worked all my life, and I had to retire for certain medical reasons, this is my last hope of American dream right here. Building my YouTube channel, making it the American dream. My last hope. And that's why I was hoping everybody that watched the videos just come and join along with me. You know, it's not like that I'm going to take and look everybody up. I mean, that's not how YouTube works. Anybody that wants to be involved or a part of this community, they're going to speak up and want to be a part of it. So, what do you mean, what did I do? I didn't do anything, man. I didn't do anything. Oh, what did I do? You're asking, hospitality. I worked in restaurants all my life. Managed 35 years. So, all that wear and tear really, it broke me down. So, that's for a living. Making $63,000 a year. Until hospitality didn't go so great and my health got bad and COVID hit and all that 900 yards. That was pretty much it. I mean, now I sit at home, I make videos. This is my full-time job now. This is what I do full-time. I mean, I can't work in a real job anymore because I'm sucking on these things every day. See what I'm saying? Every day. So, this is my full-time job. This is what I do for a living now. But I haven't made money in 2 years, so I haven't yet to make any money off of YouTube. So, basically, no sponsorship, people don't want to subscribe to an old man's channel, obviously. I guess I know I'm kind of beating the horse, guys, but I do what I do to help the PC community. I do what I do to help the PC community. There are people out there that would love to build a computer, but they get the runaround and they don't know where to start. I always had the notion of helping people when they need it the most. So, pseudoscientists, I know age doesn't matter. I know it doesn't, but it's the time that you invest in something. And I'm in September the 6th will be the second year this channel's been running. So all that time I've invested into this channel. to make it better and better and better each day. I know sometimes I kind of fall behind a little bit, and I know I don't got 5,000 videos out there all at one time, but I'm working at the pace that I can work at. So, it'd be different if I had two other people working with me. Then I can get like 2 or 3 videos done a day and do that every day for 7 days a week. But I try to do one week. Sometimes I do 5 videos. Another week I do 7 videos. Another week I might do like 3 or 4 videos. But at least I'm getting a lot of videos done per month. So, don't get over invested mentally. Set your own pace. Change as needed. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing now. I started off, when I started the first year, I started doing 1 video a day for 7 days a week. So doing between 30 and 31 videos a month. Okay. Not unless you're going to be like Linus Tech Tips and then turn around, do 22 videos a day in a single day, and then push it out there. That's like spamming. But I'm not spamming my videos. I'm taking my time and working slowly up to the golden point. I'm not spamming my videos. Not happening. I haven't watched the StreamYard background video yet, so can't give you crap for not doing so yet either. Well, I know, man. Trying to get to it. I really am trying to get to it. But there is something new that came up that's coming up for Clipchamp, that Microsoft Clipchamp, that you're going to have a way to take the background out. You're going to be able to take the background out from your video and replace it with a different background. I'm going to give that a try. I've seen that come up as well. Don't forget about me when you get bigger. Machine, I won't forget about you, bro. I won't forget about you, man. You got to remember, Dakota and you and we're like, the first ones on the channel. I ain't going to forget about you guys. You know better than that. You guys were the first ones started up on the channel. So I would never forget about you. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, I'm waiting for the update. I am waiting for the update. See, Microsoft hasn't did the update yet. So I'm still waiting on the goddamn update for this to happen. That's the thing. Microsoft hasn't, and that's another thing. Also, too, just to let you all know, Windows 11 22H, Windows 11 22H2 will be discontinued October the 6th of this year. So if you haven't updated your Windows 11 yet, I suggest you update to the 23H2, because 22H2 is going to be discontinued on the 6th of October this year. So just to let you know. Who swore? Whoa. Who swore? What did I do? I didn't swear. Oh, no. That wasn't me. I didn't swear. Did I? I don't think I swore, guys. If I did, I apologize for that. I didn't mean to swear. But you guys made me swear though. So you kind of made me swear, but actually I did. I heard you. Well, I didn't mean to. I swear I didn't mean to. But I'm going to tell you guys, look, there's a lot of things cooking right now. But there are some things that I'm going to be, modifying. And like I said, with the reaction videos, I tried to do it on this channel. I couldn't. The reason why I had to go and put reaction videos on a separate channel was because I couldn't do it on my main channel. It didn't work. I tried to do reaction videos. The most people that watched them was only like 26. And then it just went, just fell right off. So I can't do reaction videos on this channel here. I have virgin ears. Good to know. Well, I should have said gosh or something. But I do apologize if I did swear, guys. Anyway, so I'm just letting you know what's going to be cooking with this channel is I'm hoping for more subscribers. And plus, there's a lot. I don't want to see. The thing is, I'm starting to understand how these other reviewers are getting more people to their channel. They're putting negative on top of negative on top of negative on top of negative information out there. I just have a hard time doing that. I do it a little bit, but not to where it's overbearing. Listen to this. What if I told you guys and I went and bashed out AMD graphics cards? What if I just said I'd like Nvidia right here? AMD ain't nothing but garbage and this and that. You guys would lose your mind if I did that. I know one reviewer, he talks about nothing but AMD. And says, oh, Nvidia graphics card this, oh, their pricing and this and that. But he doesn't understand. It's not the pricing. And I can tell you, AMD is not making it with performance. Nvidia's got better performance, so you're going to pay for that performance. And I hate to bash it. It's true. I have an AMD graphics card and I have an Nvidia. And my Nvidia is doing just as good, even better than this AMD. So, anyway, I don't want to bash AMD and I don't want to bash Nvidia. So, you have to understand this. And this is probably why I don't get many subscribers, is because I don't hardcore bash a company when it's not warranted. You'd say, I love it when people crap on AMD. Oh my God. Yep, now it is Intel's turn. Intel got crapped on pretty hard. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's not much more to say. They're getting sued twice. There's not much more I can say about Intel other than there's an upside to Intel. And I want you guys to hear this. There's an upside. Okay? Intel's getting ready for Battle Mage. And from what leaks are being said, let me see. Let's see. Battle Mage. Okay, let's go back to the action screen real quick, guys. Battle Mage, Intel Arc Battle Mage 2 XE2 GPUs. Heading for launch in 2024. Who knows when? Performance improvements. Oh, looks like they can make a nice guy. Oh, yeah. Next Intel generation Arc Battle Mage XE2. It's supposed to be Q4. Brings significant performance uplifts. Let's hope they did better than Alchemist. Let's hope they did better than Alchemist. Now what they're saying is with the XE2 graphic architectures bring a 50% improvement in performance. Also incorporates new architectural changes such as brand new ray tracing units and VCC support. Wow. Wait a minute. No. Hold on, guys. Did you hear what I just said? Brings a 50% improvement in performance and incorporates new architectural changes such as brand new ray tracing units and VCC support. Wow. Wow. I don't know. Does that, now, let me ask you, does that sound as exciting? Really? I mean, seriously, does that not sound exciting? I would like to see if they do this. They've been, what if they accomplish putting ray tracing on their GPUs, something that AMD still can't get right? What if they do it on their ARC cards and they get it right? They're going to blow AMD out of the water. And if they got a great price, better than Nvidia and AMD, Intel's going to take it. Something tells me. Let's see. Let's read up on this. You need a co-host to be the bad guy. Do I? I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about a co-host years ago. But yeah. Leaks are like take numbers, take 20% off. Yeah, true. Maybe Gamescom. Maybe it might come out. You never know. We should know sooner or later, machine. We should know sooner or later. They put the 0 on there by accident. Well, then they must have put something on there because they're talking about new gaming engines and everything else. And I mean, watch this. Okay. Now, let's see if I can get this all in one shot. and move that back a little bit. So that way you guys can see everything. Okay, graphics card variant, Arc Battle Mage. Looks like Arc BMG G31 TSMC 5/4 nanometer. Maybe. It's question marked. Shading units 4096. 32XE2 cores. That's starting to sound like, that's right there, the 32XE2 core starting to sound like what? Nvidia? And their CUDA cores? See how it's like, working its way into this? Their memory capacity is 16 gigabytes of GDR6, 19 gigabits per second. The 7800 XT on AMD is 19.5 gigabits per second. Out of all their cards, there's 7900 XTX and their 7900 XT are above 21 gigabits per second. Now the 7800 XT, which I have here, is at 19.5 gigabits per second. And all the rest of the cards are down at 18 gigabits per second. So that's the reason why I got the 7800 XT, because it was 19.5 gigabits per second. So, and this is 19 gigabits per second, so it's going to be a good runner-up. Look at the bandwidth, 608 gigabits per second. That is more than the 502 gigabits per second on the 4070. So, that's going to be and it's got a 256-bit bus, and this 4070's got a 192-bit bus. Wow. So this one card's going to be going all out, and they got another one that they're going to be doing. It looks like it might be a, more of an entry-level generation that's doing one half of the process. 12 gigabytes of GDR6, still got the same memory speed. It's got 192-bit. Bandwidth is 456 gigabits per second. And that's the BMG G21. Wow. So if you look at the Arc A770, which they have here, the ACM G10, it's 6 nanometer. Its die size is 406 millimeters. But here's the kicker, guys. The A770 has got 4,096 shading units, the same as this bigger card that they got over here. It's got the same XE cores as this over here. What's the difference? That's the difference. The memory speed. The memory speed is the difference. So the A770's got 17.5 gigabits per second. No wonder why it can't keep up with 7800 XT from AMD, because it doesn't have enough memory speed. But bandwidth, it has about equal, but it's at 225 watts and it's $349. But this card the A770 is slower than the 7800 XT by 15 to 17% because of the memory bandwidth. Now, if you're smart and you got a card like this and you took and you, well, no, you would still have to change a couple chips for that to work. But the bandwidth is too low. That's what I think. The bandwidth is way too low. So, let's see what y'all said. Wouldn't that be something if Intel actually made a great GPU? What timing? Well, looking at it, this is kind of looking like their biggest Alchemist card is A770. So if they're going to make this into the next biggest card, they upped the memory speed from 17.5 to 19. It would have been nice if they would have put it at 21. Then that would have been cake. If they would have put it at 21 gigabits per second, it would have been cake. Then it would be like they're pushing over 700, the bandwidth over 700 gigabits. So that would have been the most cake card they would have ever had. That would have been their best seller, I would think. So, let's see. Show me the review charts. Their lower end cards will have 12 gigabytes of VRAM. Nice. Yeah. That's what it's looking like. It looks like they're going to have 12 gigabytes of VRAM, but they're going to only have 2048 shading units, 16 XT2 cores. So that's basically like, 16 CUDA cores. But from what they're saying, and if it's going to be correct, then they're going to be built with ray tracing. And if they keep the prices on those cards below $350, I'll tell you what, for $350, if this card pans out better than, let's say, a 7900 GRE with ray tracing for $350, you know what's going to happen. Everybody's going to drop their hat and they're going to move away from AMD and they're going to move away from Nvidia and they're going to go right to Intel. It's the writing's on the wall. That's the thing. What do the shading units do? Noob question. I guess throw shade. Noob answer. Let's see what Jay says. Well, okay. The way I always looked at shading units, it's just cores. It's just GPU cores. I always looked at it like, AMD has a certain amount of shader units. Intel's got a certain... See, AMD and Intel use shading units. It's just a name. To me, it's just a name. To me, you got your CUDA cores. You got... Overall, it's just cores. It's just GPU cores. They just name it in their fashion. That's their settings, the way they want it. Just like with Nvidia, that's their name for what they want it. And it's like Intel, it's their name for what they want to call their cores. Okay. So overall, if you look in the general aspect, it's nothing but cores. So, it's just basically measuring units, yeah. But it still comes down to the same general purpose. It's still cores, no matter which way you look at it. No matter which way they cut it, you still have to have individual cores. And you got millions of them inside of that GPU. So, regardless, you got many, Transistors are transistors. They're not going to change. Okay, not unless they come up with a new type of transistor that they make an excuse to call it a core. But that's pretty much what they're calling it, a core, a transistor, a core. So, to me, it's just a core. Shading units, known as streaming processors, are small processors within the graphics card that are responsible for processing different aspects of the image. They're cores. Just like if you got your CPU and it's got threads. You got your cores and you got your threads. This is just all in one. Still cores, no matter which way you want to look at it. Even if you got that from, it's still just cores. I'm going to keep you guys going for a little while on this, see if you catch on. Graphics cards have dedicated units for different types of operations in rendering pipelines, such as pixel shading, vertex shading, geometry shading, and anisotropic shading, and, yeah. Okay, we got it. It's still cores. There's just millions of them. All the information and the geometries and everything split into these little oddball transistors that are built inside of that GPU. And it splits to different pipelines, like you said, for different shading and stuff like that. Yeah. That's why they always said GPUs are designed for textures only. They're not the ones that's writing your FPS. Your FPS is coming from the aspect of your CPU, not your GPU. Now, a lot of people get this always wrong. So the RX 6800 has the same amount of shading units as the RX 7800 XT, and the 7800 XT is faster. Is it the clocks? Could be the memory. Could be the design of the memory. Could be the way the design of the architecture. Could be the software only. Catch 22. You got 6000 series that was designed on a separate type of hardware or software than the 7000 series. 7000 series is based off of a different architecture of the software. So, I mean, you got older and you got newer. That's why they always stay with the newer. You want that 6800 to be faster. It's not going to be any faster than what it is now unless they take the software from the 7000 series, implant it to the 6000 series. Then the 6000 series would become faster than the 7000 series. If you switch the 6000 series software to the 7000, take the 7000 to the 6000, you'll see that the 6000 would become faster with the new 7000 series software. But since it's on the older architecture, RDNA 2, and you got your 7000 series on RDNA 3, which is a newer architecture, it makes a big difference. Look, the VRAM is only for that extras for the switching and stuff like that. That is not going to give you your level of performance. It's just information. It's basically, the VRAM is like an information center. It stores all the information that you're using at that typical time with that game. and it's keeping it in there for the swapping, for your information, for going from your monitor and going back and forth from your monitor, the pixel switching and stuff like that. So I just learned it has to be in balance. CUDA cores, RAM, V change, bus, and etc. Seems they like to short one of them. So you have to update sooner. Vcache. Yep, that is true. That is true. If you don't stay up to date with the generations, then basically when you're running on the older generation, the only uplift you're going to get is with that generation. If you're playing a AAA game and you're on, last year's generation, and then when these game makers make the upgrades to the game for the newest generation, guess what? You're going to be left behind sitting here in the last generation queue, because all the uplifts were put on the newest generation. They never put it on the oldest. They always put it on the newest. And that's where everybody gets it wrong. They say, oh yeah, it's cheaper to get that. Yeah, no, you're paying the same price for the older generation than you are for the newer generation. You're paying the same exact price. You want to go with something faster, or you want to stay with something that's slower in last generation. It might have been faster in that generation, but when they upgrade to the next generation, it's going to be faster than the last. It should be at least between 2 and 10%. There should be at least, well, with graphics cards, there should be more than 10% uplift when it comes to graphics cards, going from generation to generation. I can tell you right now, if I go, and this is the 4070, and if I go run the 3070, the 3070 is going to be faster than my 4070. Is that right? No, that's not right. 3070 is always going to be slower than the 4070. But then everybody says, well, we can overclock it and make it faster. Well, yeah, you can overclock the 4070 too and make it faster. So what's faster, the 3070 or the 4070? 3070 sit on old architecture. Basically, that's only being updated about once every 3 or 4 months. Now, when you're on the newest architecture, it's being updated, every month? So it's kind of one hand washes another kind of thing. So the faster the VRAM, the faster the swap the info. Yeah, pretty much. Machine, look, running on 6X, GDR6X, there's a lot of it's faster on the switching and everything else. On GDR6, remember, it said, now when Samsung, they said on the VRAM, going up to GDR7, if you're on 6X, it's 1.5% faster on GDR7 than GDR6X. But it's 3% faster on GDR7 than it is GDR6. So there's a 3% difference between going from, GDR6 to GDR7. So on the uplift for your graphics card, they're saying 30 to 60% going from last gen to the newest gen, from 30 to 60%, from GDR6 to GDR7. So now going from GDR6X to GDR7, there's going to be like maybe a 35 to 55% uplift. So I can tell you that. Of Question: if you had the RTX 4080, would you use a 7800X3D or i9 12900K? Or wait till Christmas and see what's next? I'm going to tell you. Be honest with you right now. With the 4080, I could use the 7800X3D. With the 4080. An i9 12900K. The most I would push with the 12th gen would be a 4070 Ti. That's it. Going any higher than that, it would kind of, you get nasty results. I know there's some people that use the 4090 with the 12900K. Okay, don't get me wrong. But there's still performance left on the table when it comes to the 4090. There's a lot of room for upgrading from there. But I would not be running a 12th gen Intel with the 4090. I would be running a 7800X3D with the 4090. Simple as that. I have overclocked my VRAM on 6800 from 2000 megahertz to 2150 megahertz. Okay. Well, I overclocked my VRAM and I'll show you guys so you guys can get the gist of it. Right here. Right here. This is sitting idle at 2,520 megahertz. I've pushed this to 3090 megahertz. 4070. I almost got it to 3100 megahertz. And believe it or not, that's the same cap that the 50 series is at. 3100 megahertz for the RTX 50 series. That's where the cap is. So it's only 50 megahertz difference. And I capped the megahertz to 12, almost 1300 megahertz. 13,000 megahertz, sorry. As you can see, 35C is my graphics card right now. 35C. And I've been running for 2 hours and 25 minutes on a live stream. And that's where my graphics card's been sitting the whole time. So, that's not bad, guys. I mean, I can't complain about that. So, good to know, too old. Yeah. I mean, people don't understand that. I mean, I'm not knocking people to not understand that point, but I'm trying to make everybody understand that point. When you go and buy last generation crap, that's what you're buying, is the crap. Even though that might be 2 years old, it's still last year's, it's still previous year's crap. But this generation is supposed to be a totally different architecture, totally different uplift. So when you're going to buy, graphics cards, you have to know that the architecture changes for every generation. You might get 1 or 2 uplifts in architecture for that generation, and then it boosts up to a new level of generation. So imagine people being on GTX 16 series. Right now, they can't get any software for like all the way up to the top. They can't get none of the top software down at the bottom. They might be able to because of AMD kind of throwing their freebie software out there for uplifts for Nvidia cards as well, who knows why they did that? Who knows why AMD put out reservations on Nvidia cards? Is it because it's a family thing? You guys might think about that too. It might be because of a family thing. Okay. So, because even though that Jensen and Lisa Sue are family, cousins, that could be the reason why, Lisa Sue did something for Jensen. That gives him more money to his pocket. Why would she do that? If she's in competition, why would she give up software like that for her competition? Think about it. It had me boggled. I've been thinking about this for I've been thinking about this for a long time, guys. I don't know. I mean, damn. Why would one company that's not making as much as the other company give up that little bit of software to improve a competitor's graphics card? It doesn't make sense. So you guys explain to me why that, if that makes any sense to you, why they would go to that level and make it, Nvidia more money. Why would AMD go to that level and put that software to give them more money? If you've noticed, Amazon, they're still selling GTX 16 series cards. They're still selling them. They haven't stopped selling them. Even though that Nvidia said that they're no longer producing the 16 series, GTX 16 series. So all this time they've been producing those cards with end-of-life software, which was cut off years ago to those cards. So now they're just getting uplifts from AMD. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, why, your competitor would give you the kudos and give you software that's going to benefit the competitor's graphics card? You guys try to explain that to me. You guys try to explain that to me. That's what I don't know why they would do that. This is something that does not make sense. That's something that's been bothering me for quite a while. Because Nvidia doesn't give out their software. Their software is not open source. Nvidia's software is not open source. AMD is. Why would AMD give a collusion? But for what? That's the key. For what? What are they colluding about? Are they trying to monopolize the market? I think that's what you're trying to come with. If AMD's trying to help Nvidia monopolize the market to where they push everything and AMD gets a kickback from Nvidia, that could be it too. AMD helps Nvidia monopolize the market and then turns around, gets kickbacks from Nvidia to AMD. Yeah, that would make sense. That would be the reason why they're not sweating the fact of their graphics cards. This is the reason why they're not sweating their graphics cards. But their investors are the ones that are getting screwed. See, that backdoor deal that they did basically, cheaps out their investors. What if, because, if you think about it, because Nvidia was supposed to collude with Intel on having, instead of TSMC making the GPUs for Nvidia, they were going to have Intel do Nvidia graphics cards. So who's not to say that Intel's not doing that and colluding with Nvidia? What if they're all colluding with Nvidia, pushing everything into one scope without anybody knowing it? We're all the lab rats. We are all the lab rats when it comes to hardware for PCs. I'm going to tell you why. Who's better to beta test and the companies don't have to pay for is you. Everybody that builds PCs, everybody that deals in PCs. When they put out a new product, the first 4 years, you are their test patient. So why do you think they have that feedback that sends, that automatic feedback that sends them, the feedback from your PC? They have that loop to where it sends them information about how you're using your PC and how you're using that product. So there's the feedback. They don't need you to answer the feedback. They're already getting it from your PC. That's what everybody doesn't understand. They're already getting the information from your PC of how you're using it and how well it's working and what's working and what's not working. That's the reason why they got that feedback hub, because it automatically sends the information to the companies. So, Mouse Utopia experiment. Yep, pretty much. Off to work. Thanks, Jay. See you later. Pseudo. Have a good night. All right, Machine. Have a great night, bro. Be safe and have a great night at work, man. And, I'm going to go ahead and jump out of here too, guys. I know it's been going pretty well. I hope y'all had a good educational moment today. Today has just been a lot of things that have been wrapping on my mind that I needed to get out today and put it all on the table. And hopefully y'all understand that. I really do. I really hope y'all understand. There's a lot of things that I had to put on the table today. But there's always next week, and we always got more cooking for next week as well. Group hug. Yep, group hug. But we always got things cooking every week. So there's always something going on. So if it's not on this channel, it's going to be on my other channel, or it's going to be on my other channel. There's always something going. I always got something cooking every day, hopefully every day, but maybe not Monday or Tuesday, because I've been kind of lax on Mondays and Tuesdays. So the reason is I've been kind of taking it, a step back, kind of breathing a little bit, kind of clearing my head out, and go back at this again. So, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it here, guys. And I hope you guys understand. I've had a fun time with you. So, next week, 5 p.m., Saturday, like always. And if you're watching the video for the first time, I know I say this all the time, make sure you subscribe, put a like on this this live stream video. And also, too, don't forget about the notification bell. Turn it on so you know when I post the next video. Till the next time in the next video, we will see you on the next one, guys. Take care. Sleep well if you go there, and be safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, of course. So, there you go. And we're out of here.